course, you could forget all that. And just have fun! Die.
Welcome everybody back to another episode of Twizzcast. We are here to bring you all of the information that you're going to need underneath of that Blizzard Entertainment logo, such as Heroes of the Storm, World of Warcraft, Diablo, Hearthstone, Overwatch, so much more. But who are we? Please allow me to make just a few introductions, okay? First and foremost, from the great state of North Dakota, the Southern Belle, that is a dwarf by day and a rogue by night. Please help me welcome back to the show the lovely and talented Reb. Hello, dear.
Hello, Twiz. Now, if I am a dwarf by day and a rogue by night, you really don't want to know what I am during the blood moon.
Oh my god. That's... oh my god, everybody, if you're listening to this on the download, you need to watch the video just so you can see Archon's face during that. It was, his mind went there, as with everybody else. So, anyways, speaking of him, we may as well make his introduction from the city that never sleeps, direct from Las Vegas, Nevada. The first person to make a barbarian puke from whirlwinding so much. Please help me welcome back to the show, the demon-slaying Diablo Master 5000, Archon the Wizard. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, that's why I had to switch to Wizard. Much less spinning, much less puking.
Absolutely.
Way to go.
I can't say that I blame you for 1 second. Not for 1 second. So, last but certainly not least is the man that has enough empty beer bottles in his house to encase the planet of Jupiter in a stained glass Hearthstone portrait. It's the card-slinging Duchess of New York, the legendary Mr. Sexy Stutter. Again, welcome back for another week of beatings.
Dude, I went to a wedding this weekend and there was no open bar.
Dude.
What was that thinking?
No open bar?
Can somebody tell me, please?
Wow, I got nothing, man. I got nothing. I mean, that's just like... That's like, I don't know. I don't even know what to say.
What are they, barbarians?
Yeah, it's like wiping before you poop. It just don't make any sense, man. So, and for those of you who are wondering who the heck I am, hello, my name is Twiz, and I'm going to be, you know, running this freight train into the ground for the next hour and some change. You can find me on the Kultiris US server on my Orc Shaman in Twisted Legion, Horde side. And I'm still playing some Sonya in Heroes of the Storm, or I could be working my way up the ladder with an anti-aggro Shaman deck that we're going to be featuring later on in the show. Last but not least, you can follow us all on Twitter if you'd like, at TwizBP, at TankThatReb, at SexyStutterBP, and at Archon the Wizard. I also just started, I just got into the Instagram world today.
Ooh.
So I'm TwizBP on Instagram.
You gramming it up?
I am.
That's
I don't
what
even
kids say, right?
I don't even know what it.
When your grandpa gets on the gram, then you know it's officially ruined.
It's true.
Gram sounds like a drug.
Well,
Twiz is on the gram, guys.
I am on the gram.
Intervention.
Dropping grams left and right. So, anyways, first things first, everybody, you can get the show in a couple of different ways. The audio is available on iTunes, where 5-star reviews help get us on the charts. So if you have a spare few seconds, please stop by iTunes and just, you know, type a couple of nice words. That way when people go to search for a Heroes of the Storm show, a Hearthstone show, a WoW show, a show that encompasses all things Blizzard, our name will pop up. Why? Because you took an extra 5 seconds, and you're going to get a shout out on the show for it. Also, if you guys want to hang out with us in our awesome chat room, you can go to twitch.tv/BlizzPro on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, and a good time will be had by all because you can hang out with our amazing chat room. And, yep, Archon just cheers the beer. Okay, everybody, enough with the not-so-witty banter. I say it every week, and I mean it. So we've got a good amount of stuff that I want to cover, a lot of laughs and good times to be had. So I'm glad that you are joining us. Buckle in. So let's start out with our Week in Gaming. It's a good format. We start out, we just ease into the show a little bit with our Week in Gaming. Reb, what in the world of Warcraft have you been up to?
I see what you did there.
You see what I did there?
That's what you did there. That's nice. Slick. So it should be of no surprise that I am finishing out the last 2 characters for this community competition to get to level 100. They are currently at level 60 and level 40 as of yesterday. So I have 60 and 40 more levels to go. There we go. But I'm right there in the home stretch, but I really am trying to pace myself out so that I can accomplish it, and I do keep up with a certain schedule that I set for myself. And actually today I was going through my calendar and setting the particular levels that I wanted, and what I knew I could do. And one of the characters that I'm leveling is a monk, and I tell you what, the monk is so much fun. And I don't know how I saved it for one of the last characters, just because there are some abilities that, you know, I knew about, but I really didn't realize how much fun they were. How easy it is to DPS, how easy it is to tank. And initially I was leveling as Brewmaster. You'd be proud, Twiz. It was tons of fun, and I decided to go Windwalker this past week. And I tell you what, with Flying Serpent Kick and the Fist of Fury, it has been so much fun. And I really had to drag myself away from my monk to pay attention to the priest. But even priest, I finally went shadow, and I've never gone shadow before, and it is a blast, a mind blast.
Oh, yeah, I see.
I see. We were.
Yeah, we both went there. And guys, that was not
going to the dark side.
That was not staged. That was not set up.
Not at all. Not at all.
Mile away, I saw it coming.
It's like I sent a mind spike to you, and we were just on the same frequency.
You gotta stop now.
Okay, enough priest.
Feel free to restart the stream. We're done.
Yeah.
Enough priest puns. It's been a blast as well. So I can't wait to continue leveling that, and more updates as that comes up. But in Heroes of the Storm, I actually finally got to level 40, and I had been using a stim pack for the past 2 weeks. It was the first time. One came with a bundle that I bought, and I just kind of got addicted to it, and I didn't want to play without a stim pack because of the boost to gold. And finally reaching level 40, it's like, yes, I accomplished something. I have level 40. I have a level 10 character. You know, the sky's the limit. And I have how many more characters to get to level 10? To get to level 15? To get to level 20? It's a lot, but I'm slowly dabbling with that on the side.
Well, once you're past 10 and you get the master skin, the rewards are fairly lackluster.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
Even getting from 9 to 10 was a bit of a task, and so really it's hard to envision myself. What was that?
That's the grind. Oh, yeah. 9 to 10 is ridiculous.
And even just trying to go past that, it's something that I really don't see happening in my near future. If anything changes, I'll let you guys know, though.
Gotcha.
But you know what's funny is one night I did go to close out my Battle.net client, and I actually saw Archon was in Westfall for some reason.
Wow.
Reb caught me.
Uh-oh.
So but what's been up with you, Archon? Why were you in Westfall?
I didn't want to talk about it, but Reb brought it up. I was hanging out with my friends, the friends that I played WoW with for the very first time almost 11 years ago. And we were reminiscing, and we were like, what if we just got on some free WoW accounts and, like, replayed our first WoW experience? Like, remade the first characters we ever had and just pretend we were starting over. So we did that. None of us wanted to reactivate our WoW accounts because it's like crack. You don't want to go back. You can't just dabble.
Yeah. So we're like, so you basically you went up to the drug dealer and you took a good look at the crack. And
it's pretty much, yeah. We just felt the crack. We rubbed it against our skin a little bit. We're like, we're good. God. We're gonna be okay with that. And I don't know how that's going right now, but okay. So here's how they get you. By the way, I don't know if you guys have tried to play with a free account. But
hold on. That saying has never been said by anyone under 50.
This is how they get you.
This is how they get you.
I think I am officially a grandpa.
First
I think after the age of 20, you're a grandpa on the internet.
First you join Instagram.
That's how they get you.
That's how
it's the gram. Okay, so if you guys have not played with a free account, you can't do anything with a free account. And I mean, I can't complain. It is free, but you can't group. You can't you can't invite someone to a group with a free account.
Yep, you can't trade.
It's crazy. So I understand trading because they don't want like bots making accounts just to get rid of gold. But the group thing, I was like, come on. So you can now, of course, reactivate with gold. I had some gold saved up because I sold some purples right when the expansion came out for way too much money because people go crazy. And so I'm like, what the hell? Don't have to spend any money. 29,000 gold. Let's do it. I could invite my friends, and then we took on the challenge of getting through Dead Mines at level 10 with just 3 of us.
Okay.
That was harder than we thought it would be. We could not do it. But we did get the first boss down. We had to kite him back to that first room in Dead Mines where the cannon is, and just tank him right in front of the cannon while our DPS friend just plowed into him with the cannon. And that worked. After that, though, we got to like 1-2 pool, which we just couldn't get past.
Right.
We had nothing. So we're gonna get to 14 and try to 3-man the whole thing there. I think that'll be a good challenge.
Yeah.
But yeah, now my WoW account's active, so it's like back to the crack metaphor. It's like I have the bag of crack just sitting there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do it.
I'm good. I went to rehab.
And that bag is just sitting there looking at you like.
I'm gonna tell you something about me, Joe Rogan, that you might not know. I smoke rocks.
It's just like that.
I'm
gonna smell it every once in a while and then put it back down.
Oh my god.
But yeah, that was my Friday, and I did do some Diablo over the weekend, really trying to get my furnace, and I poured all of my mats into the gutter trying to get one furnace and nothing. So I think I'm worse off than when I started playing this weekend, because I've lost a lot of mats, but I'm still going strong. I'm gonna try get my furnace again this week.
All right.
All right.
Hey.
Yeah, but I've been trying to convince WifeCon into playing Hearthstone, because she played it like twice and really liked it, and for some reason I can't get her to stop playing Candy Crush.
Oh god.
So maybe I need some tips.
Now that's the real crack, okay?
Yeah. Candy Crack.
Candy Crack. Yeah.
No.
Oh,
but yeah, speaking of Hearthstone, how was your week, Stutter?
Well, I was at a wedding the entire weekend, but I leveled up a little bit after getting to 5 last week. I got to I think I'm at like 12, 13.
Once you realized there was no open bar, you just pulled out Hearthstone.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Like during the actual ceremony, why didn't you just pull it out?
Oh, that would be inappropriate, right?
Because
in the middle of the
ceremony, it's not about Stutter, it's about them.
Let me tell you this. I should have pulled it out on my freaking phone, because like they'd put like all of the couples at a thing, and then there was like me and 3 other single people, and they put us at our own table. So it was just like 3 people sitting in it, like me and 3 other people, and they just like put us in the middle of the room, not even in a corner where it's like, okay, I can kind of like hide. Like they showcased that we have nobody.
Look at this, a spotlight right on your table.
Yeah.
You know what? Those guys are losers, though. They've never reached legendary, Stutter,
It's
so
true.
don't feel bad.
It's true.
I should have, when they were doing all the announcements, it's just about like, listen, I would like to thank Hearthstone for allowing me to get to legendary. Or I would like to thank Dr. Boom for carrying me in so many games.
Dr. Balanced, thank you. God.
And I would like to thank Forced Roar Combo.
Well, yeah.
You've always been there for me.
You know what, though, Stutter? I can totally see you sitting in the middle of a wedding and, like, out of nowhere, like, you just stand up and you're like, who in the hell plays 2 keys and mystics? Who does that? Who plays that?
Where are my Darnassus ass prints?
Where's my ass prints when I need them?
You know what? I can also see that.
Yeah.
Maybe next month. I got another one in a few weeks. I'm ready. I'm doing it. But you know I won't be playing Heroes of the Storm.
Oh, yeah.
Twiz, how's your gaming going?
I like your segue there. Well, you know what? I'm going to be brutally honest, okay? Now, for those of you who have young kids in the room, I'm going to be doing some quoting here, okay? This isn't words that are coming directly from me when I tell this story, so get ready for some earmuff action, but you know what? I'm coming back to Warcraft in kind of a big way. I'll be honest with you, like, I made it, I mean, the ladder reset, I've played a good amount, but it's like I was doing really good, I got up to 17, and then you just start getting beat by all of these cheap, gimmicky decks where they drew the exact cards that they needed, when they needed it, and everything like that, you know? And it's like, you can't, I mean, I get it, it's a grind, and I'm not supposed to win every game, I understand that, but it's like, to win 5 and lose 7 over gimmicky stuff. And I don't know. I guess I look at it and it's like it's either gimmicky or it's like, oh, Patron Warrior, something that I'm not equipped to beat. You know, something that's
it's like losing
almost
to the noobs at the poker table.
a little bit. Yeah, exactly. And it totally takes the wind out of your sails, you know. And then I jump in Heroes of the Storm and earmuff time, guys. Okay, like I don't know. Like you can only get called faggot so many times before you're just like, you know what? I really don't need the crap in this game. I really don't need it. And so, like, I just kind of jumped into WoW, and I'm, like, running around questing and doing my own thing, and, like, you know, it's like all the things that I never had time for before, like, I'm making time for it now, and I'm really enjoying it. Like even the basic stuff that you're like, oh, wow, Twiz, welcome to 3 years ago. But, like, I did the bronze and silver proving grounds on my healer, and that was a blast. I'm starting to like really look at battle pets and how that whole thing works, and you know, just the basic stuff that a lot of people are like all skimmed over and whatever. It's like I'm gonna really look at this and really digest it, because you know I'm not getting crapped on by some idiot on the other end of the keyboard. You know, like if I complete this quest, I enjoy this storyline, I get this new piece of gear or whatever. You know, I mean, it's a grind, but that's the game. And it's almost to the point where I would rather do the grind than have the instant entertainment, but have to talk to some idiot on the other end of the computer, you know, that he doesn't care what he says or who he lips off to or whatever. And it's just, I don't know. I'm not. And the shaman deck that we're going to be featuring later on tonight, like, I am sorry, guys, it just absolutely craps all over Face Hunter. I mean, just absolutely all over it. And it's like right after I beat the snot out of him, you know, I get friend requests, and it's like, I'm not going to accept that. I'm not going to do that, because I know what you're going to say. You're not happy that your cheap deck didn't beat me, you know, or maybe I you know, the game was actually 8 minutes instead of 4 minutes, which is what you're usually used to. So therefore I'm an idiot, you know, I'm expletive deleted, you know. So anyways, coming back to WoW in a big way. And, I kind of like that. So, I was really, really pissed too. Last week, so we do the Heroes of the Storm Power Hour on Tuesday night, right? So we jump into our very first game, and I noticed, like, I've got the little thing up in the left-hand corner, the latency thing flashing at me. And, like, my character, I was playing Sonya, and it was just completely unresponsive. It was like I would click over one way, and it would take Sonya, like, 3 or 4 seconds to turn her butt around and start heading that direction. I'm just like, oh my God, the lag is so bad. And so we start to look, and guess who we're playing? We are playing the guys who host the Core podcast, which is Scott Johnson and a bunch of other people, you know. And so anyways, it was so aggravating because I was lagged the entire time. And they ended up winning because basically our team was four-manning it, because like I was just nothing but a target dummy. So that aggravated me as well. So finally I was just like, all right, you know what? I'm not even gonna screw with this anymore. I'm just gonna whatever. So anyways, that was that. And then Scott Johnson was all gloating on Twitter about, you know, sorry about the beatdown, boys. And it's like, dude, honestly, I like Scott. I like all the guys that they played with. I like him and everything, but just between you and me, like, they didn't play that well. They really didn't. I mean,
so do a rematch where it's an actual 5v5.
Well, and Eldorian hit him back up and was like, let's do a rematch. Let's do this tournament style. Let's do this whatever. But anyways, so, and he was all about it. He was cool. He still didn't accept my friend request. Jerkwad.
Loser.
Jerkwad doesn't want to be friends with Twiz. What the crap is wrong with you? So, anyways, all right, guys. So that's about my weekend game. Now, look, I know a lot of this was like sob story and wah, whatever. I don't like this, and I'm trying not to do that. Here's something that I really want you to take home. I really want you to take and think about this. All right. Sometimes in this gaming community, all right, things get you down. Things like they pull on your feelings, they make you angry, they make you upset, they make you not want to do this kind of stuff. You know, they make you not be the person that you really are and getting the gaming experience that you really want to get. And when things are like at their lowest and you don't even know if you want to even log in anymore, I really want you to just remember something. The McRib is back. and it is God's sandwich. It is.
If that's not inspiring,
If
if
that
that's
is
not the
not-
most inspirational story I've heard all day,
If that
I
is
don't know
not,
what is.
I'm here to tell
How
you.
many times did the McRib come back?
I don't
At this
know.
point,
Not
it's
enough.
not even a real comeback. It's
Yeah.
just expected. It's an annual return.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
It's like the
Or
Monopoly
bite.
game.
it is. It is. But, you know, that is God's sandwich. And you just remember, it could be worse. The McRib could not even be around. It could not even be invented. And then what would humanity do? So I had two of them
Live
today.
longer, I think.
Probably.
True.
Probably.
I'd feel
And that's
better.
another thing that kills me is everybody's like, oh my God, do you have any idea how terrible those things are for you? They're so bad. You know what they're made out of, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, who was the last person that was like, you know what? I'm going to start eating healthy. I'm going to McDonald's.
And get a
You know?
salad.
Yeah, you don't go to McDonald's to eat healthy. So it's like, don't preach at me about how bad it is. I know how bad it is. So anyways, whatever. Let's get right into the news, guys, shall we? Let's do it. Here we go.
This is Matt Yang King from World of Warcraft and the creator of the World of Steam, and you're listening to Twizzcast.
What do you think?
I like turtles.
All right.
He's climbing in your windows. He's snatching your people up.
To me, it look like a leprechaun to me.
The news.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Okay, the Blizz Pro news is brought to you guys by our Patreon page. Now, here's what we're doing, guys. I'm changing things up a little bit because our Patreon page is kind of like stalled out a little bit. So, before what I was doing was when we reach our $500 mark, I'm going to be giving $500 to a random patron every other month. I'm changing that now because I feel that there are so many people that are like, well, I'm going to wait till they get closer to that $500 mark. And that way I'm not giving money when I don't need to and blah, blah, blah. So here's what we're doing is when we reach that $500 mark, I'm giving $100 to 5 different patrons. I'm just splitting it up that way. So your chances of actually walking away with something are increased pretty significantly by that. And we're doing that every other month. So, I mean, even at $500 alone, you know, that's 500,000, 2,000. That's lots of math. That's like $3,000 over a year that I'm just giving away back, plus math and stuff. So, anyways, that's all the reason in the world for you guys to head on over to patreon.com/Twizzcast and help support the show. Lots of background costs, XSplit subscription, hosting fees, equipment, stuff like that. All joking aside, it's not free. So yeah, it's just a way that you can support us and we can put some money back in your pocket. So let's talk about a little bit of World of Warcraft news and things that are going on inside of Azeroth. The game shop has expanded a little bit. It's more of a creature comfort than anything. Reb, why don't you tell us a little bit what's going on with this thing?
Yeah, sure. So the in-game shop has expanded and it now provides access to select paid character services. And this is going to include appearance, faction name, and race changes. And it's all right from the comfort of the character selection screen. So now you can change your allegiance, alter your identity, or make your character over to transform them into a better them. Yeah. So let's go into a few of these. So the appearance change. You change your character's appearance, including their gender, their face, their skin color, hairstyle, and their name as desired. You can learn more about the eligibility and the restrictions for the service on Blizzard's website. To get a little bit more info on that. Faction change. You can switch your alliance from Horde to Alliance or Alliance to Horde. Pretty self-explanatory there.
Yep.
You can get your name change.
Yep.
So make it a little bit more different. And I think actually they did some name releases a few months ago. So
yes.
That has freed up a lot of what was previously taken. So it may be worth a check just to see what is eligible on your server.
Yeah, and for those of you who didn't know what she was talking about, all of the, like, if you've ever gone to create a tune in WoW and it's like that name's unavailable. Well, if that tune name is a level 1 that's been sitting on the server for X amount of time or whatever, and it's not been even logged into or used, Blizzard deleted them, gone, and it's freed up a whole bunch of name changes. So, you know what? If the name change is available, you might be able to do that. So,
worth a shot. You may be able to get rid of like special characters that you had to do. So also you can change your race. So if you're not really into deserting your faction and becoming a traitor like I did not too long ago, you can simply just change your race to kind of do something a little bit different. Now, I will make note that this is from the character selection screen only. So if you're actually logged in on the character and you're trying to do it with the in-game shop, it's not going to work out that way. Kind of the way that you do mounts right now. Yeah. You would actually have to log back out to the character selection screen to do so.
Yep. It just saves you from having to like either go through the battle.net launcher or actually going to the shop and having to log in and this and that. You do it from within the game, so you've already entered your password, you've already entered your username and and stuff like that. So it's more of a creature comfort than anything.
Yeah, for sure. In addition to that, I'd like to talk a little bit about the bonus events that are going on in game. Now, right now, the Burning Crusade time walking is still going on since they've extended it out, and it's not just weekend days. But that's actually going to be ending tomorrow. So get it while you can. Snatch up your badges so that you can buy that 5,000 badge mount, which is just ridiculous, or 2 5,000 badge mounts. And we're not going to be having a time walking bonus event this weekend. It's actually going to be a Pexis bonus event. So I'm not sure if that's going to be really useful since a lot of people already have their baleful gear. But if you're a little bit behind, you know, it could be useful in that sense. In addition to that, something that kind of got skipped over when we were talking about the Warcraft prequel novel last week, this kind of adds on to it just a little bit. Blizzard Entertainment is doing this collaboration with Random House Publication so that they are going to produce a lot more novels in the Warcraft, StarCraft, and Diablo universe. And they actually have something in the works, another Illidan novel. So they do have Storm Rage, I want to say, is the novel previously concerning Illidan, but this novel is going to go a little bit more in depth about how he's kind of more on a heroic mission, and he's not really what's a nice word for saying that? He's not really a scumbag. He y'all know where I was going with that. He's not actually a scumbag. He actually had good intentions, and it's kind of like nature versus nurture type environment, and how he ended up the way that he did. It was just a lot of bad circumstances. So we're patiently awaiting the release of the new Illidan novel. And other than that, it's been kind of a light week as far as news goes in the World of Warcraft. So if you guys don't mind, I'd like to share something really cool that I discovered in game.
Sure, absolutely. Let's take a look.
Alrighty, so I was hanging out at the Darkmoon Fair this weekend, leveling alts, getting my wee buff. And in between doing that, I did make note that the toy and souvenir vendor, which Twiz is going to be taking a look at, he actually sells these Darkmoon storage boxes, which if you are leveling an alt and you'd rather not buy the Netherweave bag, which is so popular to do for alts, simply because it's about 15 gold on the auction house. Let's say you're on a new server and you don't have friends there, you don't have a guild to help you out, but you're really looking for additional bag space so that you can consistently queue up dungeons without having to stop, take a breather, and sell everything. You can get a ton of these equivalent 16 slot bags, the Darkmoon storage boxes, for only 1 ticket at the Darkmoon Fair. And that is just absolutely nuts. It is so easy to get just 1 ticket. Actually, you know what? It's easy to get 4 tickets so that you can put these in all of the slots for your bag space. And it's pretty convenient. Once again, like I said, you don't have to have the gold to purchase it off of the auction house. Let's say that somebody hikes up the price for some reason. Maybe you're just a little bit frugal and you do have the gold to pay for it for an alt that's on your server, but you just want to save that additional gold. Maybe you're going for the Spectral Tiger like I am. Updates to come on that.
There you go.
But yeah, it's a little something that I think that a lot of people don't know about and a lot of people don't take advantage of. And I'd really like to see that people do start taking advantage of this. It's so easy to start an alt or start a character on a different server during the Darkmoon Fair. Go there to get your wee buff and then to pick up a few of these for additional backspace.
Yep. And the vendor's name is Gelvis Grimegate. And basically, when you come into the Darkmoon Fair, You come straight down the middle of the road, basically, and you'll see on your right-hand side there's like a little. There's a circle that has 2 daily quests inside of it. It looks like I don't know. It's got like benches and wooden benches inside that circle and stuff like that.
It's the pet battle area.
There you go. On the right-hand side, you'll see that it's the tent, the rectangle tent that's just past it. That's purple and white striped. You'll see him in there, Gelvis Grimegate, and the Dark Moon storage box. Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, he has other pets and souvenirs and stuff that's pretty nifty, but you're going to be saving up tickets for quite a while, a few days, and it's just super easy. I can't believe that they were so cheap at just 1 ticket.
Yeah, well, and here's something else that people, you can think about, like, if you're starting a tune on a new server, that, like you said, it's a huge thing, to be able to get bags pretty easy. But not only that, but outfitting your bank with bags and stuff like that. It just becomes time consuming. And even the Dark Moon Fair is right outside of Thunder Bluff. So if you happen to roll a Tauren, you're going to be really close to being able to get over there and get what you need.
And for Alliance, it's right outside of Stormwind, so it's so easy since people are making humans constantly all day, every day to run to Goldshire to do whatever it is people like to do there. It's super convenient. It's right there in a central location, very easy to access.
Yep. Very cool. Cool. Well, again, for all of the my God, whatchamacallit? For all of your Warcraft news, you can head over to warcraft.blizzpro.com and check all that out. Also, all of the show notes for everything that you're about to hear and see, as far as like Hearthstone deck lists and add-ons and stuff like that. When the show goes up on blizzpro.com, you just check out the article. Everything's in there. So, a little bit of a slow road again on the Diablo home front. Archon, do you have any words of wisdom that you want to blast upon us?
No.
Nope.
Next up here, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we have a little bit going on, but you're right. It's a little slow. We're into the season now. We're awaiting the first, mini content patch now that the season's out. And until then, I think as a community, we're kind of entertaining ourselves. But before I talked about that, I didn't know. Have we mentioned yet the sale on Blizzard games going on right now? Did we?
No.
On Amazon right now.
Amazon.
Bunch of Blizzard games, like half off or close to half off. So that includes Diablo and Reaper of Souls. You get either of those for $20. I have a friend who is reluctant to buy World of Warcraft to start playing again, so I think I'm just going to buy a little bit of crack for him.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
$10, you can just buy the game.
Yeah.
And then how can he say no? I just bought him a gift. It would be rude.
Seriously,
not to play.
I found out your plans work out a lot better when you spread the crack.
Yeah, he's got just a little bit of crack to get them hooked, and then they'll keep coming back.
Exactly.
I mean, you're not addicted if all your friends buy the crack and you just mooch off of them, right?
Yeah, as long as you're not the one buying it, it doesn't count.
I really don't know a better bonding agent for friendships other than the crack.
Yeah.
Yeah, World of Warcrack.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and I'm a little confused because I've stepped away for a while. Is the base World of Warcraft, which previous expansions does that include now? That's always all the way up to Mist of Pandaria, right?
Yes. I believe so. Yeah, all the way up to Mist of Pandaria.
I believe it does include Mist.
Yep, the latest one gives you all the way up to Mist. Then you have to buy Warlords of Draenor, and they keep doing that. Like the bundle they had before was all the way up to Cataclysm, and then you had to buy Mist of Pandaria.
Oh yeah. So for $40, you could go from nothing all the way up to current content.
Yep.
Pretty exciting.
Yep.
Yeah, and of course Diablo, $40 as well. You could have the base game and the expansion. So if you're thinking about getting into a game, now's the time to do it. StarCraft is, I think, like $10. I can't remember for sure.
Oh, hey Reb, Chief Vol'jin in the chat room. He says,
yeah, I just saw that as tagged as unique.
The Dark Moon storage box is tagged as unique, so you can only use one.
Well, I saved you 15 gold.
Okay.
I didn't save you 60. I saved you 15 gold. I didn't know that I needed to buy 2 this weekend, but I didn't realize that I bought them on 2 separate characters.
That's exactly what I did too. I only needed 1 bag space, and so I went and I bought one on one tune, and then I logged on another tune and took them over there, and both of them only needed 1. Otherwise, we probably would have caught that.
Yeah. Whoops.
So even still, though, a 16-slot bag for one ticket, sure enough.
Yeah.
Go and
There
do
you
it.
go. Why not? Yeah.
It's worth it.
So good catch, Chief Fulgen. Props to him in the chat room for catching that.
Calling us out.
Yeah. It's cool. Reb had one job.
Anyways,
still love you,
back
Rob.
to Diablo community. There was this really cool video that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and it has inspired me. And I'm hoping maybe you guys can help me do some brainstorming.
Okay.
This is a video by Wadijo, and I'm probably saying that wrong. I'm sorry, I don't follow this guy, but he made a really cool video about doing tier 40 Greater Rift with only yellow items, which means a little bit less to you guys, but the people who play Diablo a lot, that's like insane. Because without a set bonus, you're really like a quarter or less of the power. Like your 6-piece set like doubles
It makes
or
you
triples your
explode.
damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. So doing tier 40 in nothing but yellows was just amazing. So I had to watch it. I don't know how it worked. He explains it in the video, but it still doesn't make sense to me. But it got me thinking, sometimes around this point in the season, things start getting a little stale if you're not one of those people, at the top of the leaderboards. If you're not super competitive, around this time, you're like, well, I already have my 6-piece set for the class I want. I'm kind of doing the same thing over and over again. My progress is slowing down, and I want something new, something to give me a reason to play. And this sounded like a good idea, was to come up with some kind of challenge that we could throw out to the listeners and see what they get. Try to get the best time, or the furthest clear.
Sure.
So I had a few ideas. If you guys have any feedback or
Go for
any
it.
ideas, I would love to hear them as well.
Let's hear 'em.
But I was thinking we could do something similar to this, but maybe instead of saying all rares, we could just say no class sets. Just see who can get to the furthest tier without using any class pieces.
Okay.
Or maybe this would... I guess all of these are going to be kind of hard for completely new players, but maybe we could come up with something. I was also thinking we could see who could do the fastest solo leveling. Typically people, when they get rushed, have friends do it, and it's pretty standard, but going solo would change things up a bit. Who could get solo 1 to 70 the fastest? If anyone in chat has an idea too, we could throw it out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe just something we could do the fastest or something we could get the furthest on. People could do a video, or they could just post their times and we could do the honor system. I mean, I don't have anything to give away, so...
Yeah, you know what? We could... Twiz could probably find something in his magic pouch to...
Oh, Twizz's magic pouch.
It's true.
I like Chief Fulgen's idea in the chat room, the Naked Mon Challenge. You can only equip weapons.
Oh, okay, so... I'm trying to think what the lowest Greater Rift is. I'm guessing you could do it with only weapons. I would hate to put this challenge out there and then realize that even the lowest Greater Rift is too hard.
It's too hard.
But we could try it with... we could try it. People are inventive. They'll find a way, I think.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the things about this community. It's like, how many Death Knights have soloed current content? You know what I mean? Like, people are crafty, and they find a way to do it. So... I would not brush anything off the table. They'll find a way to do it.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. Okay, so how about this challenge? It's either who can get the highest Greater Rift tier using only weapons, or if you can't do even the lowest tier with only weapons, it's who can do the lowest tier with the fewest amount of items equipped.
Or,
that's a good one.
Or, even if you have to die your way through it, who can do it in the fastest time?
Yeah. I mean, if you can get through it at all, then let's just go highest tier. And if it's a tie on highest tier, we'll go by time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys can, throw it up on YouTube and send it over to us for us to verify, then, kudos, do it. And if we have a legit prize, maybe, then we'll go by only submissions that can prove it. And if not, just send us an email and say, this is my time, and we'll trust you.
Sure. Yeah, podcast@blizzpro.com. So
cool. Now I got something to do. Got something to keep me busy this week.
There you go. And please, guys, please abuse that inbox. I hate to say it, but when we get to the end of the show, we did not get any emails again this week. And I'm looking at my downloads, and I know that there's a lot of people that are listening to us. There's a lot of people that are listening to us. So you guys need to be writing in. So
Yes, indeed.
Hey, you that's listening right now. I'm talking to you. I would like an email from you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
Reb
you.
personally. All
Reb.
emails to Reb this week.
That's right. They do.
Doesn't matter what game you're talking about. All inquiries
It
should go
doesn't
to
have to
Reb.
be Blizzard anymore. Just email a Reb with any question at all.
You know
Yeah.
what? That could be our new segment. Just any question.
Ask
I'm
Reb.
really looking
What
for
should-
the Hearthstone questions. Like, email me on Hearthstone and specifically ask, what is the meta like? What deck do I need to be running?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have this
Don't
entire.
even stop there. Go to like what Reb should eat for dinner.
Yes.
Yeah. Or we could do like an Ask Reb section where Reb gives advice for your personal problems.
Absolutely.
I don't
Yes.
think anyone's
Like,
ready
Reb,
for that.
Dear
is
Reb.
this a rash?
Yeah. I
Reb
don't
will
know.
tell you.
Yeah, I don't know. I found this syringe. Should I use it?
Reb's
Well,
gonna tell
I would say only if you have verified distribution from your dealer. I mean, if you've just gotten it from somebody off of the streets, I mean, you don't want to chance it with that random syringe.
That's just
I
a
would-
sample of the great advice you're going to hear from Reb when you ask way too personal questions.
True statement.
Oh my goodness.
That's right. Right here on Twizzcast, ladies and gentlemen. So,
I'd say before we end the Diablo section, I was listening to West March Workshop today, and if you guys haven't heard that podcast, they had a really cool, because they also are struggling for things to talk about, of course. Not much happened in Diablo this week, but they had a really cool discussion about gold sinks, and people had written in, and they were discussing different possible ways that Diablo could do gold sinks, because as players know, we all have way too much gold and nothing to do with it. So
Let
that
me
sounds
ask you this, Archon. What's wrong with your standard porcelain sink? Why do you want...
I see what you did there. Okay.
I see what has happened and what is being done there. So,
But if you like gold sinks and not porcelain ones, then check out West March Workshop.
absolutely. West March Workshop. That's the Diablo Blizz Pro, or the Blizz Pro Diablo podcast. So available on iTunes and stuff like that. You're going to see some names that float around Blizz Pro quite a bit, 9-ball, stuff like that. So make sure you guys are checking them out if you are a Diablo freak. So let's change gears up just a little bit and let's talk about some Hearthstone, Stutter. What is crack-a-lackin' in Hearthstone right now?
Hearthstone's coming to Japan, dude.
It's
coming. It's coming to Japan. It's a big deal, I guess. I always thought the Japanese people just played on other servers. But I guess it's cool, you know, it's like if the United States didn't have Hearthstone playing as like a United States area, it's like, well, it'd be weird, you know.
Mhm.
I'd be playing on like a South American server, I guess, and people will be yelling at me and I wouldn't even understand it. I don't
You know what, though? Sometimes that's okay.
Yeah, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you could look at this entire like foreign language thing and be like, I think he's complimenting me. I don't really know.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
That's true. That's true. But I'm excited for them. I gotta be honest. You know, I'm excited because like it's weird if you're
Sorry.
trying to like piggyback on other things. You get your own place now. You got your own place. You gotta do your own thing. I love it. I love it. I'm glad they're finally coming out with it. I didn't know it was a problem, but I'm glad that they addressed it.
Sure. Fixed, feller. So cool. Just another server where the U.S. can get their butts handed to them. So that's cool. Hey, whatever. Is what it is.
Hey, US won BlizzCon last year. What can we say?
Well, they didn't have servers in Japan.
That's right. They didn't have servers in Japan.
Yeah, we're the only country playing, but we still won.
Yeah.
Take that.
Exactly.
That's all
One
that
of
matters,
one.
man.
Exactly. A W's a W.
Yeah.
So, anyways, all right. So, again, that's the only thing that's really worth talking about until BlizzCon kicks off and stuff like that. I mean, like this is the calm before the storm. You know, as things lead up into BlizzCon and things get leaked and things get announced and things, you know, this is what we're going to be talking about at BlizzCon and whatever. You know, everything is going to be picking up. Hearthstone podcasts, Twizzcast, Here's the Storm shows, Diablo shows. It's all going to pick up. So,
Speaking of leaks, by the way, I read what seemed like a very exciting leak about the Diablo 3 expansion. But then I got halfway through and it said the Diablo 3 expansion is going to be a Diablo 2 remake. And that's the point where I realized the article
And
was just full of crap.
No longer valid.
I was so excited. I was like, I have something to talk about on. No. I'm sorry, guys. It was just wishful thinking.
So yeah, sorry, Archon.
You lose. Good day, sir.
It is what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
I would like to also comment that Reb missed out. You said the calm before the storm, and I assume Reb would make some sort of pun towards Heroes of the Storm. I don't know what you were thinking there.
Processing right there, and I was thinking because we're in Hearthstone, it's the segment before Heroes of the Storm. But, I didn't want to be rude and interject with my comedy that's obviously not being appreciated tonight. I mean, gold sink, porcelain sink, that was gold right there, Archon.
Are you sure that wasn't porcelain?
I see what you did there.
Oh my god.
Anyways, let's get to the meta. All right, guys.
Let's talk about the meta.
Yeah, let's get to the meta. Guys, the meta hasn't really changed since last season. It's been, you run into certain phases, so like decks counter other decks. So you get... I've been seeing a little bit of Mage creeping up this afternoon. Mage will always become popular after Druid becomes, Druid plays Druid, right? Mm-hmm. So Mage becomes popular because they play the secret mirror entity. Not mirror image, guys.
Yes.
Mix it up all the time. Mirror entity. Mirror entity is the killer for Druids because Druids don't really play any weak minions, so they just gain momentum, right? So if you play mirror entity, you get a card that's worth more than 3. That's a win, right? Because it kind of has like makeshift, it can attack on the first turn is the big deal. But after that, it has charge. For anyone who, was like, what the heck's Stutter talking about? It has charge. Mm-hmm. Makeshift charge. But, so that's starting to creep in. But as soon as that starts to creep in, we'll see, like, Paladins coming up more. Because Paladin kind of counters it a little bit. We'll just see this cycle going around. Because Paladins will come into play. And then we'll see more cards, like you'll see Patron Warrior, and you'll see Druid come back because Swipe just kills Paladins. Mm-hmm. Then you'll see you'll see Handlock and everything like that, and you'll see this cycle go round and round, guys. And it's cool because that means, like, if you have enough dust to craft one deck, but not enough to craft like 4 decks. Mm-hmm. Then, you can rank up as long as you pick the right times to rank up. But if you don't, or like if you don't have enough, then, you're going to play your cards anyways, and you're going to be building dust before then.
Sure.
But I wanted to rant a little bit right now about Hearthstone, actually.
Okay.
You guys ready for a rant?
Okay. You had my attention.
Okay, I'm ready.
So one of the things is they keep on releasing expansions, and right now we're kind of like at the cusp of expansions where it's like we're just hitting the level where like every single card everyone plays is good, which is fine, which is great. But like you're gonna hit the grand tournament. How many cards out of that?
132 card set.
Yeah, how many are played? Not that many. And as more expansions come out, even less of those new expansions get played because they have to outperform all the other cards and all the other expansions plus the original game.
Yeah.
So it's like you almost got to start like limiting the card pool.
I think it gets fixed in one of two ways. You either allow like 34 cards or 36 cards, or you bump health pools to 45 or something like that.
Like change up the rules. Like here's what I was thinking. I was thinking like every season, like because they have like 3 or 4 seasons, between all the expansions. Mm-hmm. Right? Every season you get like the base set plus like 2 expansions plus the newest expansion. Mm-hmm. And then you have to make decks from that. I don't know. I'm just kind of like spitballing here. Like you get a certain expansions you can pick from, and then that's it. Because like you get some of the expansions, eventually no cards are going to get played from them.
That's a good point, because it's an issue that like Magic the Gathering doesn't really have to face, because their old cards just get phased out.
Right.
Like new versions come out. What are they called? New what do they call them in MTG? Yeah, I think it's so. New editions come out, and the old editions are just no longer playable. They're like, no, we're not balancing to those anymore. But I feel like that's kind of the easy way out. I can't imagine that Blizzard's not like trying to handle this exact issue right now.
I'm sure they'll come up with something. It's one of those things I've noticed, a little bit.
You know what?
That's a good point.
Can you? I mean, and this is, you want to talk about spitballing? What if Blizzard was like, look, this season, none of the BlackRock cards are available. They're not being taken away. Like, you can play them in casual if you want, but in ranked, and in ranked play or laddering, you can't use any of the cards that came out in the BlackRock, or you can't use any of the cards that came out in GVG.
I think that's pretty much what Stutter was saying.
Right. Okay. So that is what you're. Okay. We're on the same.
That's
page
kind of what I was getting at. Like you can casual. Everything should go right. It's casual. Who cares?
Right.
Same with the Magic the Gathering. It's casual. You can play whatever cards you want. Just throw them out there. But like, it just seems like, you're gonna hit a certain cusp where everyone like plays an optimal deck all the time, and it's like, well, all these cards that come out, like, I know Blizzard worked hard on this 150 card expansion, but they all kind of are just, they're good, but they're not. You've got your set, stellar.
You've got your standard, depending on what you're playing, you've got your standard 6-drop. Okay, your 6 drops are Sylvanas, Thaurissan. Your 7-drop is Dr. Boom. Your 8-drop is either Ragnaros or KT or something along those lines. And it's like that in every deck. You have your standard drops, like your 2-drop in Paladin, Shielded Minibot. It's just, that's how it is. Until
your 20-drop Molten Giant.
Thank you. Absolutely. Your 40-drop, both Molten Giants. I mean,
actually, what's very interesting is like the 8 and 9s are like the most diverse.
Yeah. Well,
think about how many different 8 and 9s are played, right? So you got Rag. You obviously got Tyrion.
Yeah.
You got 8s. KT's played every once in a while. You got the
let's take a look.
Shaman 1.
Let's take a look here. Let's take a look here.
I think one of the traps that Blizzard gets themselves into sometimes is because they really don't like nerfing stuff, which is, validated in the player's response when things are nerfed. A lot of times, situations like this, I think, would be more easily solved by nerfing a handful of cards than by buffing a ton of cards. But, the community is going to have a fit if their favorite cards are nerfed.
Absolutely, dude. Oh, yeah, it's going to, it's like Blizzard took away their birthday.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But, like, one of the things I think is, what I'm talking about for the 8-drops, is, like, the card pool is not that big compared to like
you got
the
Sneed,
6-drop and the 5-drops. That's the big deal.
Sneed,
like the
Rag,
card pool
KT.
is small enough
Gruul.
that you can play a bunch of different stuff. So maybe you limit the card pool somehow. I don't know how, but the thing is they want you to be able to play anything you want, which is great. And it's a lot of fun.
There are some synergies that are going to consistently show up.
Yeah.
Just because they're better than the others.
Yeah, and it makes it more hard. It makes it harder for the new players to come in when they see, they're going to see 1,000 cards and they don't know which of the ones are actually viable.
Exactly, and that's why you'd always have to keep the base set in there, right? You can never have the original set be gone away. Like that always has to be playable. That's just my personal opinion because it's like the new guys come on, and like you get a bunch of free packs, right? And every week that the tournament thing, whatever it is, that I never really play, it gives you a free basic pack. So you can't get rid of that one. But I don't know. This is just kind of rant. Anyways, let's talk about the deck of the week.
Okay.
I'm sorry to get us off track. It's just one of the things I wanted to talk about for a little bit.
I get you. And that's no problem. Yeah. Let us know what you guys think. Podcast@BlizzPro.com. So, all right. Yeah. Let's get into this deck. Now, I have played this deck pretty extensively. So I'll be able to chime in quite a bit here and talk about some substitutions and stuff like that. But I'm gonna let Stutter do the breakdown here, man. What is this Shaman deck all about that I've been basically talking about for the past 2 weeks?
I mean, the Shaman deck, first off, it's all about fun, right?
It is a fun deck.
But it's really about, you kind of almost have to card starve your opponents, right? So it's about like having your opponent overextend and you clearing it, and then like even if he doesn't overextend, you can clear his board and he might play a bunch of cards after anticipating that, and you'll have enough board clears that you'll just be able to clear that again. Like, you just control the game by board clears in the beginning, and in the end you just drop big bombs because all his board's been cleared for, you know, a few turns.
And he's basically top decking, and he can't do anything about your late game.
Exactly.
So.
That's the big, like, so that's how this game plays out. So you see, obviously, lightning bolts. Lightning bolts for early control. You know, you got knife jugglers that everyone likes lightning bolting. If you want flame imps, those are easily. You got ancestral knowledge. This is to cycle your cards, man. Get that going through. I mean, I love this card. I love this card as an addition to Shaman, and I love this card as an addition to Hearthstone in general. It's like, it's what Shaman needs, right?
Yeah, but you know what? It's not balanced. Like, I look at Arcane Intellect, and it's 2 cards for 3 mana, and this is 2 cards for 2 mana, but it screws over your next turn.
Yeah, but Lava Shock makes it better.
But even if you play this on turn 2, unless you have the coin, you can't even Lava Shock the next turn.
But you don't really ever want to play this on turn 2.
It depends on what your hand is like. It really does. I played this on turn 2 just because I want them to load up the board. And I want to have a way of clearing it, and I want to have a way of surviving afterwards. So I'll play Ancestral Knowledge on turn 2 and be an overload. That way they know I'm overloaded, and they can continue to load up the board knowing I can't do anything about it.
But I think the big thing is, what I'm saying is, you don't mulligan for Ancestral Knowledge.
No,
right?
You certainly don't.
If it's in your mulligan, you mulligan it out, and then you look for those board clears. Like, you look no matter what for those board clears is what I'm getting at. If you have to play it on turn 2, it's not that bad of a turn 2 play, but you're trying not to play it. You're trying to get those board clears in your hand. I would rather, if I have a board clear in my hand, and I have to play it on turn 3 that I think, I would rather just hero power turn 2 than play this and have to board clear turn 4, you know?
Yeah, but let's talk about some of the other 2 drops that are going on in here.
I mean, you got Crackle. Crackle is board clear, plus it's a nice little fun finishing move. Obviously, we don't have Malgos in this deck like some Shamans have, but it's still fun. I love Crackle. It's like the ultimate RNG card, but it's not that, like, I like these additions to Hearthstone for the RNG part because it's a good card even if you get the minimum amount, you know? So we got, after that, obviously we have Lava Shock. Lava Shock's huge in this deck, right? Because you get Lightning Storms, you get Elemental Destructions.
Yep. Lava Shock is probably the most important card in the deck.
Yeah,
it unlocks your overloaded mana crystals.
Exactly. Because it's just huge.
Yeah, if you light off an Elemental Destruction, and keep in mind that with Lava Shock, if it's turn 5 and you use Elemental Destruction and you have a Lava Shock in your hand, you can Lava Shock something and it'll unlock the crystals, so that way your next turn you're not overloaded. You don't have to use Lava Shock on the turn you have overloaded crystals and you're all locked down. So, you know, you can use this combination as early as turn 5 if they really get a hot start.
In fact, I think with Elemental Destruction it's better to use it that way, right? Because otherwise you're hoping it's turn 7.
It depends on their board.
Yeah.
It depends on their board. If they're not into it enough, if they're sitting on 4 or 5 cards and they've only got 1 or 2 minions on the board, no, I'm not going to. Even at 2 or 3 minions on the board, I'm not going to Elemental Destruction. I'm going to get greedy with it.
Yeah, I just think turn 5's, turn 5 is a great turn. Like, that's, when you're playing board clears and you want to play, because the big thing about this, guys, is you're not going to have 1 board clear and then you're just like, okay, done, I win. You're going to really play around almost 2. You know, so you're going to have the initial one with Lightning Storm, and they're going to extend more into it.
Yeah.
After that, and then you're going to be like, well, I also have Elemental Destruction, so let me just drop that bomb. You know, so it's almost like turn 5 is kind of around where that happens. Maybe turn 4, maybe even turn 3-ish, but if they're really lucky. But turn 4 or turn 5, you know, if you don't have those board clears by then and they have developed a really solid board, you better hope you get lucky with those healing waves.
Sure.
Which, speaking of which, let's talk about healing waves.
We got a Doomsayer.
I was going to go back because I just mentioned healing wave.
Okay. All right, yeah.
So we got healing wave. I mean, this is just a simple healing card. It just heals so much when you win the joust.
And this deck is capable of 44 healing. So if you had to go, if they killed you with exact lethal, and you got all your healing waves, and you got both your antique heal bots and everything like that, they would have had to have done 74 damage to you. Very difficult to do.
Yeah. All right. So that's a simple card to talk about. So we got Doomsayer. Doomsayer is a tempo play. It's like we didn't count it towards the healing, but it also is kind of like heal for 7 health because they either have to kill it or their board's going to get cleared, or they have to silence it, which is all right if they waste the silence on it. I mean, you don't really have many other silence targets in this deck except Nat Pagel, but it's still all right if they don't silence it because they probably think you have something else. Then you're fine with Doomsayer. Like I love Doomsayer as a card. I think it's underutilized all the time because it's just 7 health, or you get initiation, right? Because they can't play a creature that doesn't have charge and do anything with it, right? It'll just die.
Yeah.
I think I just love Doomsayer. Like, you can follow up a big AoE with Doomsayer, and that's fantastic, you know?
Yeah. And I've seen hunters that refuse to give up their board because it's a loss of tempo. They'll kill command that, and I will take that all day long.
Yeah, that's easy 5 burst health right there, right? Easy. Yep. After that, we got Nat Pagel. Nat Pagel is my boy. That's all I gotta say about him.
And I put him in this deck, and he replaced Blood Mage Thalnos, because if you can drop him on turn 2, he can fish for you all day long until your opponent has a way to deal with him, which is usually by about turn 3 or turn 4 anyways. But it's better than a Mana Tide. Or not better, but it's got 1 more health. I would consider putting a Mana Tide in there, but I like having that 2-drop. Again, it's almost like a soft taunt. So
the big thing is Mana Tide these days, everything's built around doing 3 damage.
Yeah.
Like, it used to be built around doing 2 damage, and Mana Tide was better. But everything's, there's a bunch of 2/3s that are really strong these days. So everything's built around doing 3 damage, and Nat Pagel has 4 damage, and it's very difficult to deal with him. So it's also...
Okay.
I remember when Nat Pagel used to, like, win you games.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah,
he was used big time in the
before the nerf.
Inner Fire, whatever, priest.
Oh, yeah. But after that, we got, obviously, we already talked about Elemental Destruction. We talked about Healing Wave. We got 2 Hexes. It's Shaman, guys.
Yep.
It gets rid of a big threat. It's just a fantastic play. I mean, obviously, you can Hex Lightning Storm if they have something big. They innervate it out or something. Like it's to help combat Druids. We got BGH. BGH is basically... It just gets rid of Giants, right, for handlock and everything else, because you got Hex for everything else in this deck. You got a Defender of Argus, and this enables your, little totems. It's fantastic. I
use it with my Molten Giants.
Yeah, I love Defender of Argus with the totems, and I love it even more with the Molten Giants. But you don't always get Molten Giants off with this deck because Healing Wave.
Right.
But as Swizz pointed out before the show, Molten Giants really help with winning that joust in Healing Wave.
Yes.
Because it's hard to... Nothing costs more than 20.
Yep. That's right.
In other words, nerf Molten Giants, guys. Nerf them.
Nah.
Make them cost 10.
Yeah, right.
After that, we got NT kill bots, just healing, guys. We usually fall behind, so... NT kill bot right after that big board clear, or maybe before it, and kind of just get that extra damage or extra heal so they can do extra damage to you. We got Azure Drake, card draw, plus, on turn 8 it helps with Lightning Storm or elemental destruction if you need that extra damage.
Mm-hmm.
You got Emperor Thorson to make everything because this is a beefy deck, guys.
Mm-hmm.
This is a beefy deck. So Emperor Thorson makes everything cost a little cheaper, makes it a little more reasonable, a little more cost effective.
Especially since you are sitting on overload quite a bit on this. Between lightning storms, lightning bolts, ancestral knowledge, crackles, elemental destructions, you are sitting in overload a lot. So if you can cheapen your, if you're going to be sitting, if you just did a lightning storm and you're sitting on overload, but you dropped Emperor Thorson, your healing wave just went from a 3 cost to a 2 cost, and that helps out a ton.
Yeah, and a lot of things are pretty glorious in Hearthstone. Playing a lightning storm for 2, it's not exactly the most awesome move, but it's pretty sweet in its own right because it can really swing a board big time.
Yeah.
So after that, we got 2 Fire Ellies, Shaman guys. Fire Ellie is just the 3. It's just the best basic card in the game, I think. 6/5 for 6, and the board swing it puts on. It usually easily clears a minion and goes 2 for 1 almost always. After that, Dr. Boom. I don't have to say anything more.
Yeah, this is all the late game that you've cleared all their early game. You've got them almost top decking now, and now you're getting into a late game where they're just like, crap, how do I deal with this?
And Alexstrasza, guys, helps you get that healing on. Maybe you do a double Molten Alexstrasza turn, throw back to the early handlock days.
Yep.
It's just a beefy body. If you have board, you can Alexstrasza them out. You get a few of these big threats out there, you can easily, OTK them. But
yeah,
the big thing is it more acts as healing for you. And then you got Molten Giants. Molten Giants make you win those healing wave jousts and also just become a huge threat.
Yeah.
Because if you get a double Molten Giant turn, that's 16 damage to their face right away.
Yep. And I've gotten to the point with this deck where I've gotten all the way down to I'm at 18 health, and I was playing against a paladin. I was at 18 health and they were at 26 health, and they're top decking, they're top decking, and I'm out of cards. So they're throwing down their threats. I'm able to eliminate their threats, but I'm just letting the fatigue wear me down. And then before you know it, they're out of cards, and they've got 4 cards in their hand, and I'm down to 6 health, and I drop both Molten Giants and taunt them up, and then I healing wave. And granted, I'm out of cards, so I'm only going to heal for 7. But it's now you've got 2 9/9s and a 2/3 to deal with. How are you going to do that? So that's where it pays off. Now, this particular deck craps all over Face Hunters. It really does. Zoo. Not so much. This loses to Zoo quite a bit for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's the Warlock hero power. They never run out of cards. Hunter they have really good cards that feed off of each other. But when you get down to the point where you're sitting on one card and you're kind of living on that top deck, that's where they slow down. Zoo has a never-ending card draw. So it's a little bit more difficult. Warrior is also another very bad matchup because Patron does all your damage in one turn, basically. And the control, they build up armor. And so your late game is cool and everything like that, but by the time you get to the late game, they have answers for everything. They'll shield slam your Molten Giants. They'll execute, your fire elementals. They can, because they haven't had to use any of their removal. And so those are 2 very tough matchups. Secret Paladin, it does very well on. Don't let Divine Favor scare you. That's totally fine. Just wait it out and bide your time. Mage, your late game against Mage with this particular deck, you want to watch out because you're not giving them very much targets to use their spells and stuff on. So if you're around 8 or 9, turn 8, turn 9, turn 10 even, you got to realize that they're probably going to have 2 fireballs and 2 frostbolts in their hand, depending on what they're playing. So know that when you're at 21 health and you're like, oh, I'm just going to play this fire elemental and whatever, they'll burn you. You know what I mean? So just be very, very careful about that. You got to really think when you play this deck of what could they have. But it's really nice. Druid doesn't do so hot because just when they're about to force roar you, you heal back up. So it works out nicely. And
it's a very greedy deck.
It is. It is very much so. So we will have this deck available for your viewing pleasure on the BlizzPro website for this Twizzcast article that when this episode goes up. So you guys can take a look at it. And also for all your Hearthstone news, make sure you guys are going to hearthstone.blizzpro.com and check out the Well Met podcast. I mean, those guys are doing phenomenal stuff over there. I know Eldorian is on it. Just seriously, like it's a phenomenal audio podcast. It's not like what Stutter and I used to do, where we would take a deck and play it for you and talk about it and break it down and this and that. They're covering all the news, Hearthstone, the meta, the everything. So Well Met, it's on iTunes, and it's a game you guys should be checking out. So, anything else on that, Stutter?
I mean, I think we're all set with that thing. Just wait, guys. With that deck, just wait and make sure you get those board clears and make sure they're value.
Absolutely.
That's what you got to do. That's it.
Absolutely. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about Heroes of the Storm. Now, just so you guys know, I'm gonna fly through this a little bit. Heroes of the Storm, there's a new map, okay, that's available, and it's a test map that's been added to the PTR. It gathers data on potential changes that are being considered for the game. Now, the new map is labeled Cursed Hollow Scaling Test. In addition to being available immediately on the PTR, the new map will also be added to the normal client for a limited time on October 6th. The changes being tested include increased death timers in the early to mid game and the lowering of stat gains in the early levels to prevent snowballing. The death timer change is intended to address how quickly players are currently able to return to contest objectives after dying early in the game. By increasing the death timers on level 1 to 10, it will replace an increased importance on not dying and make it easier for teams to take advantage of early game takedowns. The snowball prevention basically the changes are aimed at lessening the difficulties that teams face when falling behind early. Blizzard has identified that part of what makes that early advantage so difficult to overcome is a large amount of stats that are gained at the lower levels. By lowering these early gains, it's going to make it easier to engage in team fights when behind. It'll also make levels where talent tiers are gained even more important since that's going to be where teams gain the real advantage. So keep in mind there's no ETA on when or even if these changes are going to be added to the game. It's simply just a test to kind of gather information on potential changes. But my thoughts on that basically are that whether we like it or not, you're still going to have Rambo run right out of the gate and right up to the opponent's gate and get stomped in the first 15 minutes. You know, you're going to have a Sylvanas that's just going to burst through the doors, guns a-blazing, and get blown up by the other team, and then call them tryhards and whatever. So death timers, that's a cool concept and all. Probably on a more professional or a team league type thing, but in quick match, you're going to have people that just cannot latch onto that idea. They cannot wrap their mind around that idea. And so anyways, it's just something to think about. One of the other things that I thought was really cool on here'sthestorm.blizzpro.com, there's articles that go up all the time, and one of the best writers we have, his name is Alebeard, and he puts out some seriously like no crap good information stuff to really wrap your mind around. And this is one of the other things that I want to talk about, was an article that he wrote about hotkeys. I'm going to just drop a few of them on you to try out in case you didn't know about them, and you can go check the full list out for yourself. It's on here'sthestorm.blizzpro.com. So the space bar. Okay, this is one of the more basic hotkeys, and it's covered in the tutorial, but since there's a large number of players that skip the tutorial and never learn about this trick, pressing the space bar is going to center your camera on your hero and briefly put like a blue spotlight on you. Holding the space bar is going to keep the camera centered on your hero as you move and keep the blue spotlight on you. So this can be really, really useful when it comes to keeping track of your hero in like super chaotic team fights with spell effects and all sorts of crap going on. Because this is based off the StarCraft engine, guys, this is another thing that's built in to the game that you should know about. Control plus F5, F6, F7, and F8. basically F5 through F8. This trick allows you to save specific camera locations and easily move between them. So by pressing Control F5, it's going to create a shortcut to your current camera location and allow you to switch your view to that location anytime that you hit F5. You can store multiple camera locations, repeating the same process, Control F6, Control F7, Control F8, you get the idea. It's a great way to keep track of things like objectives or turn-in locations. It can also be a useful tool when playing heroes such as Abathur or the Last Vikings, who require a tremendous amount of map awareness. So, again, you just go to a certain area of the map, you hit Control F5, and then from then on, whenever you push F5, it goes to where that camera was located at. So, excellent map awareness skill. And then here's something that I didn't know about. The H key. Pressing H holds your hero in place. Okay? When used in combination with left clicks, this can be a very effective way to stutter step. If you're not familiar with what stutter stepping is, basically you're slightly repositioning your hero in between each auto attack. And while this can take some time to master, it's actually really well worth the effort. The best way to practice is to take an auto attack heavy character like Raynor or Vala into a training or AI game. Your goal should be to move your hero slightly after each auto attack by using the left click quickly followed by H. This might seem awkward at first, but once you do it enough times, it becomes second nature, basically. It's going to be much more difficult for your enemies to hit you with skill shots. And it kind of also makes you look like a rock star. So, yeah, if you guys want to check out the rest of the hotkeys that are available in Heroes of the Storm, you can head on over to heroesofthestorm.blizzpro.com. So, you know what I've always wanted to ask? Stutter, do you stutter step? I mean, really, do you stutter step?
Depends on how much I'm drinking.
I said stutter step, not stagger step.
Sometimes, like, I will literally, like, if I, like, had too much to drink, I will do the opposite of stutter stepping. And I will, like, not attack. Like, I will be off the phase. And I'll just be, like, walking around really slowly. But if I'm really on my game, I think I can stutter step a little bit. I'm not great.
See,
but I think I can do it a little bit.
I did not know that H, the holding, was part of the stutter stepping process, I guess. So, I mean, you know, bingo, just learned something new today.
You should rebind that key, though. H is annoying to hit.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true. You could probably rebind it to, like, spacebar. And completely screw up.
Because who space bars onto themselves though? Like I always just click the map anyways. You know, it's so much easier.
I do, like when I'm playing support, and if I'm checking like the mini map in the bottom corner, and I'm selecting all these different fights going on, and I need to quickly see myself and pay attention.
I lose myself all the time.
A lot.
I lose my hero all the time.
You could do you could do, like, if you want to rebind the H key, guys, this is my personal suggestion. Go with, when you click down the mouse wheel button, use that. Because then you click and then you hit the mouse wheel, right? And it's like, it's the same hand, it's right next to each other, it's easy. I think that's what I would do.
I think I would probably do control. But then again, I've got everything mapped to my mouse. My Q, W,
and then when
and
you go to set your F5 through F8, you're going to hit Control. What if you didn't want to?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Well, maybe
if you're trying to save a or map location, you'll go right back to your hero.
Or maybe I'll just use it. I'll just map it to Alt F4.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah,
it's interesting that all the hotkeys are the same as the StarCraft ones. But do you hit A to attack to a location?
Yes.
In Heroes?
I think so.
Oh, okay. Because, yeah, like if I'm playing StarCraft and I'm going to stutter step, I'm just hitting A left click and then right click to move. I don't know if that would also work in Heroes.
Well, right click is moving.
Yeah, because I think that's how, I don't know, that's how I stutter step with like Marines or something in StarCraft. I'm not sure if that's, I don't know if H is more standard for doing it there.
Oh, I don't know. But yeah, that actually what you're talking about is addressed in that article. So here's the storm.blizzpro.com. Lastly, guys, I want to move this along just a little bit. I don't want to leave you guys empty-handed, and I haven't done this for a couple of weeks because we've just been covering you know, a lot of other stuff, and the show runs a little long. But I do want to give you guys a Heroes of the Storm build this week. This week we're going to be featuring a hero that got some slight buffs a patch or two ago and is actually starting to see a little bit more gameplay, and that is the one and only You Know Her, You Love Her. Oh, that's Hearthstone. Whoopsies. The one and only Sergeant Hammer. Now, a couple of patches ago, Sergeant Hammer got a couple of buffs to her, well, a couple of changes. Her abilities, the Siege mode, got lowered to a 2-second cooldown, and she got a health buff, which is pretty sweet. So I'm going to give you guys a really good talent build and some things to watch out for when you play her, because I've seen a lot of bad hammers out there. And this is the build that I go with. Again, this is not gospel. And there's going to be people who are going to disagree with me, and I'm sorry about that. But this is what I played, and this is what I've really worked, and this is what has given me the most siege damage with the least amount of deaths. So, something to think about. So, obviously, for those of you who are, just a quick refresher, you got Spider Mines as your Q ability. It's a little circle around you that you shoot little mines out of, and they deal 50 damage and slow enemies by 25% for 1.5 seconds when they come into the area. So, if you're held up in a bush or something like that, you can throw those out there, and that's going to help slow down anybody who's trying to chase you down. Concussive Blast is basically like a big old cannon fire that blasts whoever's, you know, so if somebody's coming towards you, if Joanna's coming towards you, or another melee, the Butcher, you know, he's got you marked for a good old-fashioned passionate butt whooping, you can blast him back. And then there's Siege mode, your bread and butter, where you basically plant all fours on the ground and you just like start wailing away on targets. And it also does splash damage to the targets around whatever you're hitting. So you can take out really good waves of minions. You can take out, if you're going after like cannon towers, it's also going to hit the gate. And you know, whatever else is around that area. So for splash damage. So here's the talent build that I go with. First and foremost, at level 1, I will look at the other team as soon as I queue in. If they are a heavy stun comp, you know, if they have got themselves some serious lockdown, you know, like an Uther, a Kerrigan, a, you know, whatever, you know, you've seen the stun comps, you know what they are. I will take Resistant. And Resistant at level 1, while in Siege mode, the duration of silences, stuns, slows, and roots are reduced by 75%. Because what they do is they stun you. You're as Sergeant Hammer, you're kind of a sitting duck a little bit. What happens is one or two of them will come down after you. One of them is going to stun you, and the other one's going to capitalize on it and body block you and prevent you from getting out. So by having this... by selecting Resistant, you're going to disable all of their effects by 75%, and it really makes you more difficult to kill. If it's not a stun-heavy comp, I go with Advanced Artillery, which increases the bonus damage to long-distance enemies by 10%. Again, you want to be in the back, and hopefully your team is protecting the hammer. At level 4, I usually go with Maelstrom Shells. Now, that increases the standard basic attack range by 20%. You've got a wider range, which means you can stay further away. And, I mean, Hammer does some serious damage, but when the enemy team sees that circle on the ground, like if you're at a tribute and you're sitting there all posted up, you know, protecting the tribute, protecting whoever, like the enemy team does not want to come in there. I don't know why they think it's instant death if they come in there, but it's not that way. But you know, the more range you have, the more lethal you can be. So I go with Maelstrom Shells at level 4. Level 7, I go with hypercooling engines. Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, first aid's better. First aid is nice, but first aid does not heal you fast enough through a, for when people come to basically take you out. Having the hypercooling engines, which reduces the cooldown of thrusters by 10 seconds, and thrusters are always active while at the altar, is huge. It's huge for mobility. It's huge for getting you out of those sticky situations when you can spot them coming down, because there's nothing worse than having a long cooldown on your thrusters when your first aid is up. That's cool. You're still gonna you're just gonna take a little bit longer to die. Is all that's gonna happen. So I go with Blunt Force Gun at level 10. A lot of people go with Napalm Strike. It's totally fine. Napalm Strike is nice because it's basically a 4th ability. I don't really use it enough. You know what I mean? What I really like is I like Blunt Force Gun because I can send I can send a big old missile right down the pipe, and you can at level 20 you can spec into having it go all the way around the world basically. So as soon as you set it on a path, it continues along that path, and the enemy team has to watch out for it. We'll talk more about that when we hit level 20. At level 13, there's two different ways that I go. You can go with First Strike, where your basic attack deals 25% more damage if you haven't been attacked within the last 5 seconds. It's not bad, but I get hunted down quite a bit, so I use Barricade. So Barricade, when you create a wall of path blocking debris for 4 seconds when you use your concussive blast. So in essence, basically, people are chasing you down. You fire them. You fire this barricade at them, where not only does it blow them back, but it gives them a wall that they now have to go around. You just basically secured your getaway by doing that. So I go with Barricade there. At level 16, it is kind of up in the air. I've seen people do Graduating Range, which while you're in siege mode, your standard basic attack range keeps increasing by 20% every 3 seconds up to 100%. Now that's nice because it gives you a big range on the map, but the second you move, you lose that. And that's it. That's done and over. So I go with Hover Siege mode still, because what that does is it allows you to hover, or you can move at 50% movement speed in siege mode. And when you click on a keep, when you click on whatever you're trying to attack, it takes you to the maximum range. Okay, it keeps you far enough away so that way you are now hitting that target from your max range. You're not getting closer than what you really need to be. And that's what I like about that particular talent. At level 20, we do Orbital BFG. The Blunt Force Gun missile orbits the planet every 5 seconds. Only the last missile fired orbits. So what you can do is you can send that baby right down the lane, and you can even line it up with the core. So now it's on a timer. The core's on a timer. Now it doesn't do a heck of a lot of damage to the core, but where do a lot of fights happen? Where do a lot of minions spawn? Right there by the core. So if you've got something looping right down the lane, not only does the enemy team have to watch going into that lane, and I've seen it, guys, I've seen it happen so many times where I have fired that bad boy down a lane or across a map or whatever, and people forget that it's there, and I have picked off people who are trying to run away because that thing just zips right across the screen and knocks them out. Zex is in the chat room. Zex has seen it happen on numerous occasions. So, you know, I mean, I picked off a Sylvanas that was in the bushes one time. She was part of a team fight, and she almost died, so she went and she hid in the bushes, and sure enough, here comes the orbital BFG, and it was on that path, and it nailed her. It happens more than not, guys. So it's something really worth thinking about. So anyways, that is a good solid Sergeant Hammer. Why I kind of pick one of these, again, there's gonna be people who are gonna disagree with me and say, no, Twiz, that's not right, dude. That's not what you pick here. You pick this. Okay, that's your play style. All I know is that I don't die very much when I play this particular build, especially as of late. Now that she's got the health buff back, that was huge. And the siege mode cooldown was also huge. I die a lot less. I hold my own in not only hero damage, but XP contribution and everything like that. And that's just worth its weight in gold. So that's pretty much the Sergeant Hammer in a can breakdown there. Anybody?
You know, actually, I was playing Sergeant Hammer this past weekend trying to get her to level 5, and that's almost exactly the exact build that I do, except for I usually would pick Napalm rather than BFG. And then a friend, Blind, who's in the chat room, was telling me about how it orbited, so I tried to make mental note to do that, because he was saying, yeah, you can push it right down a lane, and it's constantly hitting minions, it's constantly hitting the core every 5 seconds. I can't wait to try that out, but I was a little bit hesitant. I was a little bit hesitant to try Sergeant Hammer just because I know in a lot of the maps or matches that I have done in the past, people were tearing Sergeant Hammer apart, as in like verbally abusive and being toxic.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if this is something else that you guys have noticed, but Sergeant Hammer is usually like really the target to go after as far as like being toxic and abusive, and I was not interested in that. And that kind of reminds me actually of when you were talking in your weekend gaming, how you were a little bit done with people being
Oh yeah,
being canoes, and you kind of wanted to do your solo thing, and I'm sure you are definitely not alone when it comes to that thinking.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, you know what? Yeah, you're 100% right. Guys, a valued member of the community has also had his fill of a certain game and decided to let everyone know he has finally broken free of Blizzard's clutches. So with that, why don't we dive directly into the community thoughts? We'll be here. Elfie says, I can't take this expletive deleted as matchmaking anymore. It's impossible to gain any progress in this effing game these days. All I do is yell and yell at people, getting so mad that I write way too stupid things when I can't blame Blizzard themselves. I can only take out my anger in-game that will result to feed those horny OP to put an ban/silence/suspension at me. Lols. This is not how a game shall be experienced. Anyway, bye-bye with this effing game. Finally, I made it.
Congrats, Elfie, for making it.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
You made it, man. You made it.
I want to know how he knows that they're horny.
I know. I don't get it. I don't know. I don't get it.
It's a sixth sense.
So, yeah. So, anyways.
Now,
all right.
don't you feel for all those people who are yelling horrible things at you?
I don't.
Now you know it's because it's impossible to gain any progress in this effing game these days.
That's right. It is.
It's Blizzard's fault, not theirs.
It is. Getting so mad that I write way too stupid things when I can't blame Blizzard themselves.
Exactly. It's not his fault. It's Blizzard themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, anyways, whatever. Chat room, here you go. In case you wanted to see that little bit of wisdom for yourself. Guys, we're going to be right back in just a minute. Stay tuned, because you can go ahead and tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell your relative, tell your dog, tell any and everybody that you possibly can that you are tuned in to episode 6 of Twizzcast. Today, we salute you, Mr. 3 frames per second man. Mr. 3 frames per second man! You dare dream of a world where the fire animation is something you can easily walk out of. Get out of the fire! You boldly embark on quests that take 4 times as long. I don't know if I'm still in combat! And one day, you'll actually be able to see your bobber dip when you fish. I don't know if I should click now! And Moonguard will no longer kick you due to FPS problems. Mail not up looking for fun. So here's to you, Mr. Sultan of Suck. DoghouseSystems.com can build you a rig and put you back in the game with the rest of us. You deserve it, your raid team and arena team deserve it, and so do the rest of us. Mr. 3 frames per second man. Go to DoghouseSystems.com and use the coupon code TWIZ at checkout to double your memory. Twizzcast would also like to remind you to game responsibly.
Been sitting here copying the mail at the home 20.
All right, this is normally a time where we entertain with our email segment. And again, guys, no emails this week, which is kind of flabbergasting because I look at the amount of people that download this show and nobody's writing in. It's kind of unbelievable. But anyway, so podcast@blizzpro.com if you guys want to talk about your thoughts, talk about your inner feelings, send Reb the questions that you'd like, and whatever. So also we did get 2 5-star ratings, 2 more 5-star ratings on iTunes. That's right, absolutely. And thank you whoever did those. We certainly appreciate those. They didn't actually write reviews, which is okay too. That's fine. But you know who you are. Thank you for going there and doing that. So let's see here. Again, I want to give a big shout out to everybody who is helping bring this show back and joining joining the Twizzcast Nation, as it were, and I'm having so much fun doing this. So thank you for who is watching this, and thank you for who is downloading this and helping support this show just by hanging out and being our friends. So I think that's gonna do it. Anything for you guys before we blast out of here? How about you, Archon? Anything, brother?
I gotta say, I am really looking forward to Question Time with Reb next week. That's going to be the highlight of my week, I think. But until then, may all of your drops be legendaries, and may all your legendaries roll ancient.
How about you, Reb?
I too am also very much so looking forward to advice time with Reb. I'd like to give out a few shout outs. My guildies from Guilty by Association on the Sargeras server have been asking me when I was going to talk about the guild, so there you go. I have mentioned y'all. I would also like to give a shout out to my co-host Kevin from the Dark Moon Herald podcast. He has been consistently listening to the show every single week and giving feedback and doing really good discussion. So hi, Kevin.
Kevin is good people. Absolutely.
Yes, he is good people. And then lastly, I would like to say, by fire be fabulous. Reb Neros has spoken.
Indeed. How about you, Mr. Stutter?
Well, I'm just excited also for that question segment. I really want you to get weird with those questions, though. Like, don't ask her normal questions. Ask her, like, what soap you can use. I don't know. Something like that. Just get weird with it.
Get weird. Get crazy. Get crazy with it. Stutter has spoken. So, guys, that is going to do it for Twizzcast this week. Those of you in the chat room, hang out for after hours. It's going to get rowdy. I watched Karate Kid 3 before we started this stream, and I'm about to let loose. So, everybody, thank you so much for being a part of this show and being a part of helping it function. Thank you for what you do. Game safe, love one another, and please, everyone within the sound of my voice, take care.